Most of the structural pruning occurs in winter, right? This is when you improve the structure and improve the overall health of the plant. If you have a really vigorous tree, you can do this thing called summer pruning. There is a difference between summer pruning and winter pruning. Now, summer pruning is not about structural look and structural health. It's more about growth management. When your fruit trees, or just any tree that tends to grow very vigorously, really gets out of bounds, gets really crazy, you're pruning to manage its energy so that it doesn't grow as much or grow as fast. Okay, you're managing its energy reservoir. Summer pruning is managing how much energy it has and how much energy it's going to put out. If you can manage the energy of the plant, you can keep that tree a little smaller and in scale with your home. So how do you do this? Well, let's talk about how trees and shrubs get a lot of energy. Many trees that are deciduous, they drop their leaves in winter and they go to sleep. They just go dormant, slow down their growth. And maybe they'll grow a little bit in Northern California because we have a milder winter. But overall, they slow down incredibly. But they're not completely sleeping. They're actually growing underground. During winter and spring, there's a lot of heavy rain in California, and that rain contributes to root development. The roots are either going deeper or wider, so it has a larger area to access more nutrients, access more soil, access more moisture. So that's one way they can get energy through their root development and all those access points underground and from all the winter rains. And while they're not growing in winter overhead, they're not growing new branches or leaves, they're growing underground. They're developing and gathering all that energy underground. That is part of the energy reservoir. In spring, they're going to start blossoming and leafing out. And in summer, they really leaf out and there's so much growth. This is another way they get energy. They get energy through photosynthesis, through their leaves. If your tree has grown a lot and has lots of leaves, it has a lot of surface area to get more energy through photosynthesis. When it has a huge energy reservoir, that energy needs to go somewhere. It needs to be redirected into the branches to form new branches and to push out leaf growth. So we need to curb that. The way to do that is to do summer pruning in mid to late summer. At this point, they've been growing for a few months. And, they've spent some of their energy reservoir. They've used up some of that. So if you start pruning some of the vigorous shoots, you're taking away a lot of the leaves for photosynthesis. It's going to slow down and halt that vigorous growth. It's not going to react as much. Whereas if you try to prune before it started spending that energy from their reservoir, they still have a lot of energy. They need to react and still need to get that energy out. They'll start growing even more vigorously. How do you do summer pruning? Well, you look at your tree, and if it's really, really vigorous, and I'm talking about common trees are like plums, any sort of stone fruits tend to be really vigorous. You look at it and identify the most vigorous shoots, the ones that are really sticking out. You select maybe a third of those branches from the tree and prune it down a third of its length. Now, why do you do that much? Because you still want to protect the tree from sunburn, and you still want the tree to be healthy, to still gain some energy, but not too much. And also, a lot of fruit trees have different timing schedules for fruiting. A lot of fruit trees tend to fruit on second year wood, so you want to be careful about which branches to prune. If you prune every single branch, you may potentially lose fruit for the next year. If you prune only a third of the branches, about a third of the way, then, that controls the vigor, but then it still guarantees you fruit for the following year. I hope that makes sense, guys.